Well, the format industry has changed considerably, of course. I remember that actually I know from history books that in the 60s, Dutch people would fly over to New York. They would simply hire a hotel room, watch a TV show, copy it and take it back home and put it on air. So the format industry has considerably changed. Format is now a massive business. And if you look at a format like Deal or No Deal that I created, it has established an enormous intellectual property for a company. As a matter of fact, formats can make or break big companies nowadays. So format industry is huge, and it was nothing in the 70s. I think the TV industry is fragmented now. So instead of the whole nation watching 1 or 2 channels, we're now watching a few hundred channels. But I think there will always be a future for television. The United States is always ahead of us a couple of years, but even in the United States, it's still the big 4 that most viewers are watching. And I think it's because we want to stay in touch with what's really going on, like the news, and we want to be able to speak to colleagues the next day in the office and say, did you watch ABC last night, or NBC, or whatever? And you cannot say to a person, did you watch internet last night? You cannot ever do that. So I think there will always be a future for television. As a matter of fact, the ratings of television have increased over the years, in spite of all the multimedia things that we have around us nowadays. So there's a big future for television. And I'm glad that they are just recently heard that they bought You Deserve It in China. So I'm very curious what will happen with that. And of course with Deal or No Deal, many countries in Southeast Asia have embraced that format, and it has been very successful.
We have all watched it.
Yeah, and of course it's. I still have to find out what exactly it is that appeals to Southeast Asian people in a different way from Europe or the United States. So that'll be interesting to find out, and also be interesting from a development point of view. Well, game show formats are the best traveling formats in the world. As a matter of fact, 50% of all the formats that are traveling around the world are game shows. And all the other genres have to split the other half. It is because game shows are best protectable. They have obviously the best mechanism. They usually have a mechanism that can be protected, whereas reality shows have that to a lesser extent. And you can still have wonderful shows without a format. I mean, The Apprentice, I think, is not a format, but it's still a very good show. But they rip it off in all the countries and they make their own versions. So as soon as that is possible, I don't think you have a format. But even without being a format, you can still have great shows. But the game show is really the best genre to have a maximum of protection. I really think that originality is an important aspect of product development in general, particularly television. I know in television world, it's a copycat world, so it's not because there is a poverty of creativity, but there is so much need for content by such an increasing number of multimedia applications. That's more the reason they are in bad need for stuff. And also the networks have a fear to be a leader. They rather follow an existing success and say, let's do something that looks like it, and we're on the safe side. But as a product developer, I wouldn't do that, because I like my format to travel around the world, and for that you need to have a novelty value. My next development would be realizing that Southeast Asia is a potential market for my format as well. Whereas with Deal or No Deal, it just happened to be a success in this region as well. With the next developments and knowing what is ahead of us, I would probably more take into consideration, is this format also something they would appreciate in that region. You Deserve It is a show that I designed because I think that the time at the moment maybe of anonymous people winning a lot of money, it might be over. because I think in this time of economical crisis, we don't want to watch a guy that we don't know who's winning a lot of money. Why is he winning that? Do I know him? I cannot identify with him. So I thought maybe we should bring a story to the viewer and make the person who is playing there known to the viewer, so we get a maximum of involvement. And that's why in You Deserve It, you will always have a contestant who plays for someone else. A person who really deserves to have a break. Had some bad times behind him or her, and is really, really needs a break. A turn for the better in her or his life, in order to be able to pick up the pieces and go on with life. It's a good feel show more than anything else. It's not about the money, but it's about surprising a person live on television who doesn't know anything about what's going on, and give her that dream come true moment on television. So that's really what my new show is. Well, the ATF was very surprising to me. It's the first time I'm here. I hear it's growing and growing. I had a lovely time. It was very nice to meet people. I met more people than I would ever expect to meet here, also from Europe and from the United States. So I love it, and I love the atmosphere, and I think it's very inspiring. And I see a big future for this, because I think this is the region where it will all happen in the future. Well, you don't have to be able to predict the future. You don't need a crystal ball to realize that the economic center of the world will probably be Southeast Asia. And that goes for everything. That goes for refrigerators, where we have maybe 500 million people that still need a refrigerator here. So you have consumers here for televisions as well. You have consumers here for all kinds of products, and you also have the producing part here. So it's going to be a huge future here in Southeast Asia, rather than in America and in Europe, where we've had our part and our share. And I think the future area is going to be Southeast Asia.